If you are someone who has connection to the outside world with knowledge of whatever is presented in front of you, then you already understand what Disney is. A large corporate company founded nearly 100 years ago in 1923 by Walt Disney, and has grown strongly from cartoons to merchandise, amusement parks, cruise ships, TV, and radio channels, buying out and owning other major brands or companies. Need I say more? It is obvious that they have been this big, raking so much money off their brands and using it as advantage for creative freedom, trying to make new stuff, right? No, not really. I'm not trying to say that Disney was always unoriginal, or terrible in that matter. They have made some great things and helped contribute to a good childhood with their movies and products. But in recent years, it feels like Disney, the powerhouse company, has just given up. Now, before you yell at me about this, let me elaborate better. I won't talk about everything Disney has done deep in the past, but stuff in the last few decades leading up to now. Since the beginning of the 2000s, there have been many people criticizing Disney's business choices regarding what deals the company made, their movies, and just what they do to the people and the public. After the release of The Emperor's New Groove in 2000 being regarded as the best movie from that decade, which I have to agree, but there were a few others I enjoyed, but still. And many fear that they were going to enter another Disney Dark Age, which was a series of years from the early 2000s to the late 80s, in which Disney released features that bombed in the box office and were regarded as bad films. I mean, there were some good films there, but still. They soon left the Dark Age and into the Disney Renaissance, leading into well-known classics from the late 80s and throughout the 90s. People thought that another Dark Age was underway in the 2000s, till that changed with some releasing movies in the 2010s, like Tangled and Frozen, while buying out other popular studios such as Marvel and Lucasfilms. But it feels like these recent movies have a trend to be overfilled with these cliches of predictable twists, obvious character relationships, and a story with minimal effort in it with mediocre songs. You have movies like Up, The Incredibles, and WALL-E that have the good guy being a villain twist that was alright at first, but is now becoming an overused medium. Songs people call modern classics still feel too safe, whether it's singing about leaving the island, wanting to be free from your tower, or letting it go. I don't know, it feels that a lot of their modern music is soft with its lyrics, being made for all audiences that don't have anything remarkable about them. While there are some songs that are better than others, the more popular ones are overplayed and are crammed in the dolls you see in Walmart and play in every commercial ever made. Not to forget that this is the same company that has made such groundbreaking films with its beating musical numbers. You have a film like Fantasia that has an entire orchestra play out stories that enable hope and death with its heavy music. Hunchback of Notre Dame with its choirs from one of the best villains from a Disney movie. And some annoying gargoyles. Modern Disney feels soft with barely any emphasis on emotion or real character goals besides wanting to explore or be something big in life. I get that there are good characters, or stories built on modern-day problems or something, but it still feels like there is no variety, nothing different to it, besides the scenario of these characters feeling repeated and bland that a lot of people don't notice. But even if it's still talked about, they still rack up in the money along with their other company chains. Other than their movies, they still have a presence in cramming stuff down our throats like merchandise. It has been 5 years since Frozen release. Stop trying to sell me Elsa dolls. Let it go! They feel so enticed in being corporate with how heavy their material is, and is trying to get their hands on others. Like that time they wanted to trademark the Day of the Dead when they were in development for Coco, meaning they wanted a religious tradition in their name. Speaking of Coco, Disney also went under fire for putting a 20-minute long short called Olaf's Frozen Adventure before the movie Coco played. People were confused if they walked into the wrong room while others left early, which I really don't blame. The 20-minute long short was originally meant to be a CBS special, but they decided to put it before Coco. What is with these guys and Frozen? They rely on keeping their toll on what is profitable, especially with the live-action remakes. Oh boy, are they obvious cash grabs. Their live-action remakes span from mediocre, forgettable, and pretty terrible. They lose their beautifully animated style the originals have with their charming characters, great songs, and animation that articulate feeling in its colors and designs. But implementing that in live action with real actors and sometimes CGI is almost insulting to the original work and what made it beautiful. When I want to watch Beauty and the Beast, I expect Belle, not Emma Watson giving only one expression for 2 hours. Disney is so entitled with their brands that they want it everywhere. They want to repeat the same material over and over. They hardly take risk. They're just a company that wants you to buy their products. I get that they have to make money since they have to pay their millions of workers, but beating a dead horse for the sake of profit is just going to be a continued boredom for people that expect it from the Walt Disney Corporation. Yet they still get profit. It feels like all Disney contributes is to make money at this point, with movies with cliched plot points, merchandise shoved in your face, and it's cashing in nostalgia of these lifeless live-action remakes that do nothing but give better appreciation for the classic material. It doesn't feel like they are trying to make movies to uphold any risk, but just to make another PG film like any other company. They think about actions to buy out other branches than thinking about satisfying the kids and adults at the same time. Yes, there are movies that I enjoy, but it doesn't refrain from what can make an unforgettable story. I know Disney is still going to thrive for the next decades and still will continue the cycle and make up millions and millions, but it still won't contribute to what classic fans want. New stuff, less company talk, and more to what need on a creative standpoint. But at least we still got Frozen.